Okay, morning traders. See who's on today. So hear me loud and clear. Give us a nod, a wink. Bobby, how are you, mate? Committed. Good work, buddy. All right, let's get up and racing. Welcome to Trade Setup, the morning playbook. So I'm just going to go over a few bits and pieces. So, g'day Anthony and Nick. How are you guys? Now, we've got a few things. I'm going to keep an eye on. Firstly, for anyone that doesn't know, you're more than welcome to join the Discord channel. Just got to send me an email to support@tradesetup.com.au. So that normally I'll go on about 11 just before maybe discuss the prior day's trades, maybe on the Hang Seng or anything that we did, anything that if we missed something, why, what was the setup, just so we can recap. It's good for the learning curve to start spotting and seeing entry setups. Even if you don't take them, it's a good process just to get into. So we'll do that. That's yeah, if you send me the email, I'll send you the link to join the Intraday channel. We discuss some other stuff. I think there's, we've got the BNPL stocks. They have been hit. We were talking about that yesterday. They did weather the storm a bit yesterday, but I think, if it's really going to create an issue, was it PayPal? Then they've got a lot of room to move on the downside. They all have charged higher recently. I mean, that's SPT, split it. That's been going well. Bit of a pullback there the last couple of days. So there's a lot of juice still stacked up long. Now, if that becomes a bit of an issue, they're going to have to get out. They might be charging for the door. Probably not so much that as APT. It had a massive run up. Big clean out yesterday, but was rejected after the open. Doesn't mean it can't keep finding some pressure. So it's one, they're just to keep on top of for intraday action potentially. Now OPY has been hit the last few days as well. I mean, that could continue to charge lower. And what do we just go? Push pay. That's the daily's not looking so crash hot either. There could be some further weakness on the downside there. So there's a few things just to keep an eye on. And the other one I just said, I forgot. I was going to watch it on the open. So the news popped out on SPL. Now, I'm not looking at the shares as much, but I thought we'll start just anything that pops up that might look worthwhile. Keep an eye on intraday as well. So SPL, good news. You can see that last couple of days been bought up. So, was it buy the unknown rumor in inverted commas and sell the fact? It could be. But I would expect retail are going to pop that. You see that news pop up. Anything to do, 1 million in funding for COVID-19 spray, it could trigger a bit of a gap up. It's showing could be a 172 open at the moment. We'll just see how that opens. It's still on the S's, so it's got a long way to come before that could be played around with before it opens. It's late in the session, probably 8:10:08 or something like that. Excuse me. But yeah, that could be some intraday action that might kick off, whether we get a big spike and then a pullback, or we might, the fact that everyone sort of knows about it now. Obviously, someone's known about that coming online before. You can see the volume tick up, the price kicked off. But we'll just see what action that brings up. Now, we'll get over to the indices. Nikkei, it's just kicking off strong. I wouldn't be buying that because, it's a chaser's market at the moment. And the problem is, you're never going to want to chase things. You want to see what happens on the first pullback. Something like this, we can buy into and let it ride. It's cleaned out this level, you can see, on 23.8, was it 23.387 or thereabouts, say 23.400. Cleaned out that level. It was, high here, hit it a few times, popped up through, which is good. That pullback stuck, which is nice, and it's ticked off overnight. Want to see just what happens if that another pullback supported something like this, then we can get our teeth into that. But otherwise, you're chasing the market. You don't want to chase the market. It is at times it is paying out, but it's not a winning strategy at all. And you're better off just watching something going without you, if it's going to, because you start getting the bad habits like that, you'll crucify yourself. The Dow's, just expected to make new highs. To be honest, it's I would say only a few points away from a full recovery on the Dow index, which is 400 points or so. But the way it's going, it could do that. It could do that tonight. Rally today up 400 from the open, go into new highs, and away you go. We've got payrolls out on Friday, which from all signs, may disappoint. The market does not care at this stage. They're sort of looking at it and go, okay, every time something disappoints, it's stimulus. Stimulus supports the market. Let's keep the ball rolling. And I think Trump's been quite smart. I don't think he wants to give out stimulus. I don't think he wants to hand out because he wants to get people back to work. That's his aim. Well, that's what he's saying anyway. Or the package won't be as good. So he's delaying. Delaying is the same as a bull market. It's the same as supporting, as pumping out heaps of stimulus, because at the moment its momentum is up. Any talk of stimulus, momentum keeps going. They keep charging higher. So if his delaying tactics are probably having a better result than what it would be if he has to reach into his pocket and hand out cash, because that's what the market's expecting. But at the moment, it hasn't come through. I mean, we don't know if it's going to be another trillion or a couple of $1 trillion, 2.2. I think the Democrats are aiming at. If that's the case, yeah, further stimulus, further free money, further support. And that's what the market's looking for. So if that doesn't come out, then that could be a bit of an issue. But the way it is at the moment, the charge is on right up until elections, I'd say. And his main focus is the stock market. Something he gets spruik. Look at what I've done. I've recovered all this market. He's done absolutely zero. Anyway, you got to love him. We find him very entertaining in our household. Now the Hang Seng, the close was down here at around 25,070. It's been pressured, pressured at that 25,255. It's probably even slightly higher. Excuse me. I don't have a coffee or a drink in front of me. I'm just coughing. So you can see that zone in here. It's tagged that prior, backed off, tagged it again, straight down, rejected again, down to support. But it's stuck in that range. So in essence, each way, it's an each way bet, down or up. You break out to the top side, you break out to the downside. If that's the case, it's going to lead to a good move. I'm starting to be biased up just because of the overall market. And that's because the longer we go on by building this base after that sell-off, that move up there flushed out, and then, trade up to resistance rejected, flushed out a lot of these buyers prior, and we're starting to find support again. Whether we're going to start to charge higher, it's going to be the case where if it does charge, it might pop up quite. You want to see not just a few points above like it has been. You want to see a good push above, and then see if you can get some sort of pullbacks. On the 30, it may not be a pullback at all. It'll just be a straight charge. But we want to be over to see if off the 5-minute charts, if we can get some sort of minor pullback, and if it starts to lift again, and the one's looking good, you're going with the flow and see. Even if it's only half the move, that could be 100, 200, 300 points. So there's a lot of fat in the Hang Seng once it starts going. That close, it's lifted off the close. Obviously, Dow, Nikkei's kicked off. It's lifted off that close. So don't be surprised if we sort of chop around up here and then bang, spike down on the open. We'll just have to wait and see how the open, if it starts rejecting in there and you can see, the price opens up strong and it's finding sellers again, then we might get the same, a bit of a sell-off like we got the last few days, charge down to that support zone. SPY is going to be open in 1 minute. That I just expect bullish action. So Tuesday down 100, yesterday brushed it aside completely and we're back up. So that's, if it's a bear market, that shouldn't happen. You wouldn't expect anyway. You would expect some sort of continuation down, or at least uncertainty down there and a bit of a narrow range day, but instead you pop straight back up for no particular reason, really. I mean, the US wasn't that strong and we rallied over 100 points. So interesting. Still think we're going to be on the ASX, we're sort of stuck. We're not rallying. We're stuck in a range more than anything, but around 62 cap, 6,200, and I think, I don't know, on the downside, 59, thereabouts. Let me just see if I can get that up. Yeah, 59, thereabouts. Yeah, it's still ever so slightly on the rise, but I'm just saying that's more sideways price action, consolidation, range-bound action, chopping around, but these couple of moves down, every time it's flushed down, it's bounced straight back again, and it's rallied back to the 62 zone. So that could be on the cards. So expect a SPY. We should have just opened. We've just popped up above 6108, washed it out. So again, you'd expect retail. They're going to wake up in the morning and see the Dow up 400. Go, woohoo! Let's just buy stocks on the open, and that's probably why we got that flush. It may just continue on up to 61.52 without even a breath. We'll have to see how the SPY goes today. Now, I want to get over to here. Not much to talk about. The US dollar bounced. Not much has changed in that respect. US dollar's bounced. I do see that if you go longer term, we've had this little bounce, sell off again. We've had this resistance zone form up here at around 93.40 thereabouts. It's potentially at a zone where we could easily flush lower, um, and then maybe another leg up. We don't know, but I don't. Well, look, we're coming into the payrolls on Friday. Like I said, if that comes out worse than expected, you're going to get some volatility, and it may be the fact that worse than expected or a lot worse than expected, they could be forced to throw another $2 trillion at the market, which is going to be very bearish for the US dollar. Okay, I would expect anyway. Well, you would expect by history, the way it's been going, and the fact that it's broken through that 92.50, 9200 zone, it seems broken the longer term trend up. It's heading south. The trend is still down with a prime zone to start to roll over again, which would pressure euro back to the upside, Aussie, pound, all those linked markets. Crude was interesting last night. If you take a look at that, got smacked down, and that's on the US dollar strength. So that's not, that's not. Sorry, can you hear me still? I just had a curl come through my headset, and I've got a feeling it stops going through. Still hear my beautiful voice? Yep, fantastic. Thanks, Bobby. All right, so we got a big sell-off there, which to me is not conducive of a crude market saying they're confident that the equity market's going to keep going. Okay, it could be, they're starting to be more range bound as well. We've had that rejected a few times. That spike there, pull back, bullish, bullish, bullish. Still, that sell-off there wasn't too bullish. Got back up to the highs, failed a few times, really tried, bang. And they had, even though US inventories come out weaker than expected, which from a supply demand point of view should be bullish. And we've got this big, beat down really coming. I think it was coming into the number. Yeah, I think the number's at 12.30. So it got a bit of a move to the downside. So you got against the flow of inventories and against the flow of the US dollar, which is quite strange. A stronger US dollar, actually, what am I talking about? Stronger US dollar is weaker on crude. It's copper that I was thinking about. But anyway, that's not conducive to expectations for a stronger equity market. If we go to copper, copper's the one against the flow of the US dollar. Still had some strength. You see, so they still, the copper market still looks like it wants to go. It's still supporting, high demand, opening back up of global economies, all that sort of stuff. But, and then obviously that was against this little rally up here. I think the US dollar was rallying then, which should be, should pressure the market, but it just wasn't. It's rejected those lows quite convincingly. That little run down there was when I think the US dollar initially pushed up, and then it had a pullback. It started to rally, and when the US dollar started to pick up again, it continued to rally, which was interesting. So it wants to be higher, and it looks like this could be a higher low above the 3.000 zone, which could lead to basically a charge through 3.09. So copper is looking quite bullish, quite supportive. Where the copper stocks in the Aussie market are doing okay. I haven't even really looked, to be honest, but we'll take a look at that today. So that's probably about it. Let's look at Bitcoin. Your cryptos got smacked down a bit last night. So longer term, we'll go back to the longer term charts. It's more, that daily trend. We're certainly finding a peak up here. We might need to flush out a few more longs, or whether we're going to do, it's going to take some time, whether we're going to do something like this, chop around here, put in a base and expand higher again. I don't mind that if we do that, but it's going to have some time to play out. So if that's the case, and we've got this base starting to put in place here around 11,000, and we can contract in, but hold that base, you can see the volatility squeeze. It squeezes right back in, and then once you get it start to break, that volatility expansion is going to really create that lift higher. But we'll just keep an eye on that. So that's about it. And Ethereum got pounded. I think it was down 10% at one stage. It was down 10%. That big backing off last night after that expansion higher. So that, on a daily chart, it still doesn't look too bad at all. We've had a base that's been put in where the market's been lifting from around 368. It's got to do some work. That kind of rejection up here, you could probably expect that after a couple of strong days higher, there's going to be some tentative, up near the highs, some tentative holders. So we'll see. but still longer term bullish. It just needs to set up again. Gold just going with the US dollar. So we put out a note on this on TradingView yesterday about a bit of a pullback. I've only got one gold stock, probably bought it at the wrong time, but still looking okay. If that can hold in here, which I expect it to, because I sort of expect a US dollar swing lower, that should swing back up again. And we may, depending on what the US dollar does, if it starts to charge lower, then we're going to get this charging higher, gold charging higher. And ultimately, it doesn't look too bad at all. So that's the squeeze in there. You've got longer term trend up. That's your squeeze. We're starting to break out again. We're starting to lift, getting supported. So it's really, what happens up at these levels. And we start to charge through there off a higher level, and that's going to be supportive. And you can see, supports come in through that zone there. It's quite a wide zone, 1895 at the 1910 sort of thing. So we'll see. All right, guys, I'll call it a day there. Now, just remember, if you want to jump on the Discord channel, send an email through, and I'll send you the link, and you can get on, and it'll be in the, now it's called Braden's Lair, I think it's called. Braden's Lair. So I'll be on, I'm trying to get on around the 11 o'clock mark. I'll be on around there just before the market opens at 11:15. If anything else pops up, just watch out for the intraday trading channel. I'll put up some notes there, but I'll be doing the talking in Braden's Lair. So also, if you're on there later, and I don't think I can actually have typing in a voice channel, but you can put it in the intraday channel. Just type some questions in there, anything you want to ask, anything you want to have a chat about. I think you can type in there. I'm pretty sure you can still type in there. It's the same as the public chat, but just use that for intraday stuff. And then I'll get on and just chat about whatever you want. All right, guys, have a great day, and I'll speak to most of you later on. Cheers. Bye.